Pokemon Legends Z was announced a year and a half ago, and despite having ample time, we still don't know the final evolutions of the starters. Well, today, I'm going to be going over the final evolutions of the starters, their Mega Forms, and which ones I would recommend for you for your playthrough of Pokemon Legends ZA. I got an early physical copy, thanks to the internet, not provided by anyone. And I've had a lot of time to mess around with the game, about 65 hours in the last week or so. This is before the Switch 2 version officially launches today. The starters of the game are Chikorita and Totodile from Generation 2 and Tepig from Generation 5. And I'm going to go ahead, sit on this bench, and I'm going to hang out with my Pokemon. And there's their final forms. It's the same. They're the same ones. Meganium, Feraligatr, and Emboar. It's one-to-one exactly what they were. I mean, granted, you know, the textures are updated, the models look a lot better, but if you were expecting a fun regional form or something else, that's not in this game. It's just the 3 regular starters. Yeah, let's talk about that. First up is going to be Meganium. Meganium is a pure grass type, and it remains that. It has pretty okay stats in HP, attack, speed, and special attack, and then it excels in its defense and special defense, which is, you know, cool and all. Over here we have a beneficial nature, so my special attack is 173, which is still less than both of my defenses separately. So Meganium kind of does struggle to put out some actual damage. I'm going to be revealing and talking about the Mega Evolutions in a little bit, so that way in case you just want to know about the Pokemon and my experience with them first, that's what we're going to be covering before we get into anything that people might consider a spoiler. There will be a spoiler warning before I actually show off the Megas. Meganium's move pool is pretty bare bones, to be honest with you. It's a lot of the same stuff you have seen and imagined, of having both physical and special grass attacks, a lot of defensive things, like being able to learn Light Screen and Reflect via level up, Safeguard, Leech Seed. It has Disarming Voice now, and as far as the TMs that it can learn, it gets a little bit of coverage, but not really, with things like Rock Smash, Knockoff, Earth Power, Earthquake, Bulldoze, Iron Tail, kind of just the typical stuff for this game. So it does learn ground moves to help it combat the fire weakness that it's going to be so glaringly weak to, but it doesn't have anything for the many flying types that are present in the game, no rock moves or anything else like that. Meganium does struggle a little bit there. If I were to give my really blunt and honest opinion, Meganium's glow up isn't enough compared to the other two. Next up is Feraligatr, who is actually the one that I first chose when I first started playing the game, because when I played Gold, Silver, and Crystal, Feraligatr's move pool and diversity of it was absolutely fantastic. You can tell in the bottom left corner because it's still level 100. And yeah, this is who I've had with me on my team. For Alligator stats, its best stats are its physical defense and physical offense with 105 attack and 100 defense, followed kind of evenly and closely with its HP, special defense, and then slightly behind that is its special attack and speed. Now, it's not an amazing amount of attack, but it is good enough attack. However, his biggest weakness is that low special defense stat, and being a water type, really struggle against electric types. And honestly, that was the one glaring weakness on my team until I added in Excadrill, which 10 out of 10 recommend adding Excadrill to your team. Following its tradition from having an amazing move pool, that continues. I've been running Liquidation, Ice Fang, Crunch, and Rock Slide, which is just an all-around fantastic moveset for you to have during the ZA Royale, being able to knock out 4 different types. I actually used the TM for Dig because that can help you avoid an attack. And then also when I was not yet over leveled, I used Sword Stance, which is a fantastic move in this game. So if Alligator was actually able to do a good amount of damage to Pokemon that it wasn't even super effective against. Ice Fang is monumental in this game. I cannot emphasize enough how important it is that you have coverage for dragon types and fairy types, because with all these megas running around, dragons and fairies are everywhere. Ice Fang has been my most helpful attack out of all of my Pokemon. I'm not even joking. If you were to have a Pokemon that can learn Ice Beam or Blizzard much more effectively than Feraligatr can, then great, fantastic, run it. But Feraligatr with Ice Fang was perfectly good. And if I was doing a fight against like Rogue Mega Dragonite, I just swapped Liquidation for Ice Beam, and even though my special attack isn't great, it was still enough damage to get me through the fight. It's time for Emboar, who is yet another firefighting type. I mean, yeah, it's still the same firefighting type that it always has been, but just having another firefighting type is a little rough. Emboar, being from the 5th generation as opposed to the other 2 being from the 2nd generation, has much more optimized stats for a specific type of attacker. Emboar's physical attack is 123, special attack 100. Defense and special defense and speed are all equally horrible down at 65. Its HP is pretty impressive at 110, so it can kind of take a hit, although those defense stats really aren't helping it. Emboar really succeeds in just being able to do a large amount of damage up front, nice and early. Let's talk about Emboar's strengths and its many weaknesses. So Emboar, as a firefighting type, and the only one who's a dual type between all 3 of the starters, not including their Mega Evolutions, it has a lot more weaknesses for not a lot of advantages. It being part fighting type, it gets access to close combat, which lowers its already pretty low defense and special defense stats. So it is a little hard to compensate. Basically, if you're not going to one-shot something with Emboar, you're probably going to die on the retaliation. And with a not great speed stat, sometimes it's hard to get that first attack off before your opponent does. It seems like attacks that have recoil, like Flare Blitz for example, have a very fast casting time, meaning like you choose to hit it and then it doesn't take a lot of time for them to actually initiate the attack, kind of like priority attacks do. I don't know if that's just superstition or just a little stition, but that's just kind of what I've observed. And it's one of the only Pokemon that get access to Power-Up Punch, and also at the beginning of the game, Rock Smash is very, very important to have on your team. Granted, you can catch a Bunnelby and have that on your team with Rock Smash if you don't pick Emboar. He also gets access to Bulk Up as a level up move, but I chose not to run Bulk Up just because if I have Power Up Punch, I'm also doing damage on top of it, and that little bit of defense gain probably isn't going to help me. I mean, if you look at its stats, its attack is almost double its next highest stat, so yeah. Emboar is a glass cannon, but isn't that speedy to help compensate. If you were to find some nature mints and help increase your speed, or if you're just really good with reaction time to get that first attack off, then great, but if not, Embor's probably going down. Legend ZA isn't just about having one strong Pokemon, it's about having a team of strong Pokemon. Minimum 4, most likely 5, kinda also at some points 6 of your 6 Pokemon should be dedicated toward having a very powerful, well-rounded team in a very combat-driven game. Cannot emphasize enough how combat-driven this game is. 80% of your time during this game is going to be combat. In addition to your PLZA starter, you're also going to be getting access to 4 more starter Pokemon. Fairly early in the game, you are going to be getting a gift of a Kanto starter. And those Kanto starters, of course, are going to be your Bulbasaur that becomes a Venusaur, your Squirtle that becomes a Blastoise, and your Charmander that becomes a Charizard. Special attacks are very strong in this game, and I would highly recommend that you pick a Pokemon who can have strong special attacks. I personally prefer Mega Charizard Y over Mega Charizard X, and in a very physical heavy team, it was very helpful. But you also, fairly early in the game, get yourself a side quest for a Chestnut and, well, the first form, and then you also get yourself a Fennekin, which becomes Delphox, and you get yourself a Froakie that becomes Greninja. Now, you can catch the Kalos starters before the post-game, and if you wanted to, shiny hunt them, but the other 6 are tied to the post-game. These 3 Kalos starters that are native to the region, you get all 3 of them, you can catch them freely before the end of the game, you can easily level them up to help supplement your team. So you get your 1 PLZA starter, you get your 1 Kanto starter, and then you get all 3 of the Kalos starters. That's 5 very strong Pokemon for you to have on your team to help balance out the most important part of the early to mid game, which is your fire, water, grass core. I would highly recommend having a strong fire, water, and grass type Pokemon on your team at all times. You could have electric instead of grass because you're not having any ground water types in the game, but honestly, who you choose might actually have a lot to do with their Mega Evolutions. Now's the part in the video that I'm going to be showing the content that has not been revealed by the Pokemon Company ever in the past, which is the Mega Evolutions of the PLZA starters. If you consider this a spoiler, you may want to click off the video now, but this is probably why you're here. Let's get on with the video. And that's Mega Feraligatr. He gets an enormous hood on top of his head that is bright red color. His red accents all around him become more of them. And that's pretty much all I have to say. Its glow up isn't that dramatic, just because it's a big old head over there. And yeah, that's Mega Feraligatr. Mega Feraligatr, like almost all of the Megas, gains 100 to all of its stats. Its speed remains the same, its special attack becomes ever so slightly higher, not that that was needed. It gains 10 in special defense, and 25 in defense, so it's a lot bulkier. It gains 55 to its physical attack to go from 105 to 160, being one of the strongest physical attackers in the game. Excluding legendaries, 6th strongest physical attacker in the game, behind Heracross, Garchomp, Gallade, Banette, Larvick, and Tyranitar. They're mega forms, obviously. And it also gains the dragon typing, as you probably noticed on the screen here, so all of your dragon attacks are going to be having stab. If I were to look up Kingdra, who also shares this exact typing, now your only weaknesses are dragon and fairy. So you lose your electric weakness, you lose your grass weakness, and you just get 2 different weaknesses. And that sounds like a really good trade-off, especially if you're going up against an electric or grass type Pokemon, and Feraligatr's like your last bet, and you need to live the Thunderbolt that's coming your way. You hit the Mega button, and now it's neutral damage. And now you do 1.5 times the physical damage. I can't say enough good things about Mega Feraligatr. It's why I chose it. Meganium finally gets the glow up that it has much needed, and now it has more flowers. Also, I think its feet are now roughly and disco-ier looking, and its antennae now have a little curly Q to them. And that's really all I got to say about Meganium. It does gain a typing. Instead of being pure grass, it's now grass and fairy. And it does have a very, very much needed redistribution of its stats. So speed remains the same. Its physical defense and special defense both increased by 15, which it was already bulky in the first place, right? Its physical attack only gains 10, which is fine because it wasn't doing physical moves. And its special attack goes from 83 to 143. It gains 60 in its special attack, which is so very, very needed for this Pokemon to actually do damage. Making it the, I think, 19th or maybe 17th strongest special attacker in the game. If you were to have Meganium on your team, and you really want to utilize that fairy typing for strong fairy type attacks, having Meganium in the back after your Mega Meter is charged up isn't that bad of a strategy. Oh, you're the same typing as Whimsicott. So you're now weak to Poison times 4, and then also weak to Flying. You gain a weakness to Steel. You still have your weakness to Fire, and you still have your weakness to Ice. And now you're immune to Dragon. So that's a trade-off, if that's something you want to go for. Cool. And it definitely looks the coolest. I'm not gonna lie. It's a full-on Emperor style. It has a big old staff. Its fire is everywhere. It's shiny that normally has blue accents, now has giant blue fire everywhere. So Emboar is hands down the coolest looking of the three. No one is going to question that. Absolutely. Let's talk about its stats. Speed, it gains a little bit of speed, up from 65 to 75, which I don't know if that's enough an improvement. 65 to 75 in its physical defense, a much needed giant boost to its special defense, almost doubling from 65 to 110. Its special attack gains 10, but that's fine because it wasn't doing that in the first place. And its physical attack gains a small boost to go from 123 to 148, which it was already a very strong physical attacker, and its biggest weakness was how frail it was. All that added bulk to it, to its gut and its armor that it has, gave it a lot of special defense that it needs to live some of those stronger attacks, especially from strong water type special attacks. It doesn't do much for your many physical weaknesses, like to rock and to ground and to flying, but it definitely helps against, things like fairy. Actually, I think you're neutral to fairy, right? Yeah, you're neutral to fairy, so you're only weak to, those four. Flying, ground, water, and psychic. It definitely helps against the psychic attacks. Last little bit of information that you may find helpful. Your starter that you choose, that Mega Stone is actually the second Mega Stone that you acquire in the game after the scripted Rogue Mega Absol battle that you saw in a lot of the demos. The other two Mega Stones, you can purchase them in the post-game. So in the post-game, you just go ahead and buy those. You can catch all 6 of the other starters in the post-game, so that isn't that much of an issue. One last little piece of advice, and I don't know this 100% because I haven't spoken to anyone who's played this game and not chose Feraligatr. I had to face, at some point near the end of the game, a Rogue Mega Venusaur. The other Mega Stones were freely available to purchase at the Stones store, like right at the beginning of the game. I could have gone and bought the Charizardite, which I did, and then the other Charizardite is there, and the Blastoisite. So perhaps the Kanto starter that is strongest to your PLZA starter is the one that you fight, or maybe it's always Venusaur. I don't know this for a fact. If you choose someone other than Feraligatr, and if you have to fight not Venusaur of the 3 Kanto starters for the Rogue Megas, please leave it in the comment section down below so we can corroborate this information correctly. And if you're curious on how this follows up, I'm sure one of the highest upvoted comments is going to be that. And thank you so much for making it this far into the video. Later on today, I am going to be going over all of the Pokedex, all of the Mega Evolution decks, and we also have how to shiny hunt Pokemon very, very early. So all of that is coming your way, as well as about 40 to 50 more videos about Legends ZA. So be sure to hit subscribe, turn on notifications if you haven't. Thank you so much for being here. Until next time, Austin John.
Man, they see me shining like I got the charm. Stay strapped, got that jet ball in my palm. Felt from the sky, guess I'm the chosen one. And if you need to know how, check out Austin John. Champion flow, flow. Yeah, I got that champion flow, flow.
What's going on, everyone? Austin John Plays here, and today I'm going to be going over the entire Pokedex of Pokemon Legends ZA.
Oh.